My name's Wendy Stillman and I grew up in Newport Beach. This is me at 15 growing up in the 80s in Newport, heart of Gen X. Super colorful and creative images were thrown at me at the time. The surf and skate culture was our way of life and our fashion. The industry was exploding with talented skaters and surfers that began traveling the world as the magazine sent home colorful images of these kids making a living, seeing the world in these fun clothes and getting to do what they love: surf, skate, ski, snowboard, and travel. As they traveled the globe to surf, they went to faraway islands and countries, picking up the local and tribal symbols and cultures and meeting all new kinds of people. While all this was happening, the art scene was exploding in New York City, where artists like Basquiat and Keith Haring were creating a cultural shift in art, colors, symbols, and energy that inspired other artists like Peter Webb, an Australian artist who was the main designer at Quiksilver at the time. Peter Webb started using these inspirations on the new line of merchandise he created for Quiksilver, called the War Paint series. From 1985 to 1988 and even beyond, Webb created a new style that all the beach kids immediately adopted. He combined the urban art scene from New York City with the tribal island vibes that the international surfers were experiencing. And soon this style took over the entire surf, skate, and snow apparel industry. Forward to 2015 when I became a mom and an art docent for the first time with Young at Art. We did a project called Boom for Real, studying Basquiat. I used this as an opportunity to do larger scale paintings and was very inspired by Young at Art, so much so that I became the Penny Camp chairperson for a few years in a row, curating and installing all the Young at Art shows for our cafeteria. Taking my kids to see art, finding art outside of the house and doing art inside of the house, we were very inspired. I started showing my work publicly and really putting myself out there. It was at this point that I was really painting full time. I started a company. I started painting for myself. I started painting for clients, doing commission work, and really exploring all different types of mediums and colors, characters, symbols, and swirling together this Boom for Real inspirational Young at Art piece, along with all of my learned Gen X surfer skater days back from Newport with Peter Webb and Basquiat and Keith Haring all kind of swirling around in my head. Started painting as much as I could. I even entered a group show down at Resin Gallery in Hermosa Beach. I was creating new pieces, I was showing publicly, and I was doing commission work. It was really fun. I started really gathering a big body of work and even eventually started getting some solo shows. I was contacted by Two Guns Coffee and we did a solo show there. It was super successful. It was really great to see the community come out to support me and just support local art in general. I always came back to my kids and Young at Art, though. We would do these really great shows for Young at Art every year and show off all the kids' work. I would always create a big piece in the middle that all the kids could come and sign, and at the end we would raffle it off to a winner. I started to gain some recognition and was contacted by South Bay Magazine as they did an article about me, about Young at Art, and about how my art was influencing the kids and the community. At that point, I started working on really big pieces and taking stuff to galleries and working with local and regional galleries. I just kept creating and creating as much as I could and just always looking back to Peter Webb and Basquiat and Keith Haring and all the 80s colors and vibes and activities to really create the new content and all the different paintings and styles and colors that were swirling around in my head and get them out onto canvases, onto skateboards, onto surfboards, and any kind of medium I could. So this is where I came up with the project for Young at Art to share with all the kids, the Gen X Skater. I hope you like watching this video and are inspired by this project.